Imagine standing thousands of feet above the ground. Nothing beneath you except sharp rocks, freezing winds, and death waiting for just one mistake. High above the frozen mountains of Norway, two experienced climbers are chasing a dream very few people dare to chase. Their names, Sasha and Tommy. They've spent days hanging from a massive cliff, living inside a tiny tent attached to the mountain itself. For them, this isn't just another adventure. This is life. Morning finally arrives. The storm from the previous night has settled, and once again, they continue their climb. Every movement is precise. Every step demands complete focus. Every grip could mean the difference between life and death. Sasha reaches a familiar section of the mountain, a place that has challenged her before. She reaches, her hand slips. She catches herself, she tries again, and slips once more. Tommy notices immediately. He doesn't shout, he doesn't panic. He simply smiles and calmly tells her, "Slow down." The mountain isn't going anywhere, but nature has already made its decision. Dark clouds begin swallowing the sky. The wind grows colder. The air becomes heavier. Even the mountain feels different. Tommy looks toward the horizon. He knows exactly what's coming. "We should head back." Sasha hesitates. They've worked so hard to reach this point. Turning around feels like failure, but sometimes survival is the greatest victory. Reluctantly, she agrees. Inside their hanging tent, the mood changes. Silence fills the air. Tommy quietly breaks it. He admits something he's never said before. Maybe his climbing journey is coming to an end. He smiles while holding an old compass. Luck is strange. You can carry it with you for years, but one day, it simply runs out. Sasha looks away. She doesn't believe in luck. Frustrated, she pushes the compass aside. Tommy doesn't react with anger. Instead, he looks at her with nothing but love. "I still love climbing, but more than that, I love you. Just promise me, slow down." She nods, not realizing these will be some of the last words she'll ever hear from him. The next morning, their descent begins. Everything appears normal until the mountain explodes with falling rocks. Huge pieces crash down from above. Tommy immediately shouts, "Stay against the wall!" Sasha quickly secures herself. Dust fills the air. Visibility drops. Then, Tommy calls out one more question. "Did you secure my rope?" Without thinking, she answers, "Yes!" But she didn't. Time almost freezes. Sasha looks down, and her heart sinks. The knot was never tied. Before she can move, a massive rock crashes into Tommy. The impact throws him off balance. His body hangs helplessly over the edge. Unconscious, silent, motionless. Sasha grabs the rope with both hands. Every muscle in her body screams. She pulls, she cries, she begs. "Tommy, wake up! Please!" Only the wind answers her. Her hands begin slipping. The weight is too much. If she keeps holding on, both of them will fall. Some decisions stay with us forever. She closes her eyes. One final breath, and she lets go. Tommy disappears into the endless abyss below. Not with a scream, not with a goodbye, only silence. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't losing someone. It's spending the rest of your life wondering if there was another choice. And for Sasha, that question will never leave her. 5 months later, she leaves everything behind. No climbing, no friends, no home. Only memories, and one old compass, the last thing Tommy ever held. This time, her journey leads her somewhere completely different, the isolated wilderness of Australia, a place where people disappear without leaving a single trace. And Sasha has no idea she's about to walk straight into a nightmare far worse than the one she left behind. Australia, an endless wilderness, dense forests, silent rivers, and miles of untouched land where nature follows only one rule: survive. Sasha parks her vehicle near the edge of the national park. She checks her GPS one last time. Nothing. No signal. Just endless silence. She unfolds an old paper map, takes a deep breath, and continues alone. That night, she sets up a small camp beneath the stars. Everything around her is peaceful. Too peaceful. But no matter how beautiful the view is, her mind keeps returning to Tommy. His smile, his voice, that final moment on the mountain. She closes her eyes, yet sleep never truly comes. The next morning, Sasha arrives at a ranger station. A ranger notices she's traveling alone. His smile slowly fades. He quietly explains, "Several people have disappeared in these forests over the years. Some were experienced hikers. Some were entire families. None of them ever came back. He asks her to register her route, just in case. Sasha signs the book, thanks him, and continues her journey. She has no idea that simple signature will later become the reason rescuers know where to begin looking. Before entering deeper into the wilderness, she stops at a small roadside store. While buying supplies, two local hunters begin bothering her. At first, it sounds like harmless conversation, but within seconds, their behavior crosses the line. One of them steps far too close, trying to intimidate her. Before the situation gets worse, another customer quietly steps in. No shouting, no fighting, just one calm look, and the hunters back away. The man's name is Ben. He politely apologizes for their behavior. Sasha thanks him, but confidently replies, "I can handle myself." Ben simply nods, smiles, and walks away. At first glance, he seems like one of the good guys. Near the counter, Sasha notices homemade beef jerky. She buys a packet without thinking twice. Outside, she struggles to read her map. Seeing Ben nearby, she asks if he knows a better route. Ben explains there are two paths. One is the popular trail, crowded, safe, predictable. The other, a hidden route through Blackstone Bay, peaceful, beautiful. Almost nobody uses it. Sasha thanks him, starts her engine, and chooses the hidden trail. Sometimes, the worst decisions feel exactly like the right ones. By evening, she reaches the campsite Ben described. The river is calm, the forest is silent. She hangs her backpack from a tree, protecting it from wild animals. Then, she opens the beef jerky she bought earlier. To her surprise, it's actually delicious. She smiles for what feels like the first time in months. Finally, she falls asleep. The next morning, something feels wrong. She rushes outside. Her backpack is gone. Food, phone, supplies, everything has disappeared. She searches everywhere. Nothing. Frustrated, she returns toward her tent. Suddenly, a snake hisses from inside. She instantly steps back. Realizing she can't stay there, she climbs into her canoe and continues down the river. After paddling for some time, she notices another canoe tied near the shore. Curious, she follows a narrow trail into the forest. A familiar voice greets her. "Looks like you found the place." It's Ben, standing there, smiling as if he was expecting her. He listens while Sasha explains everything that happened. Her missing backpack, the snake, the ruined campsite. Ben chuckles softly. He jokes that maybe curious animals stole everything. His calm personality immediately puts her at ease. Ben offers breakfast, fresh food, clean water, a safe place to rest. They begin talking. He explains how he makes his famous beef jerky by hand, drying the meat for weeks until it's perfect. Sasha compliments the taste. Ben looks genuinely happy. For a moment, everything feels normal. Ben asks about her life. She admits she used to spend most of her time climbing mountains. Now, she prefers rivers. She never explains why. Ben notices the sadness in her eyes, but doesn't push further. Instead, he casually mentions something strange. He admits he watched over her the previous night, just in case those hunters returned. Sasha freezes. "You were there?" Ben smiles. "I wanted to make sure you were safe." His answer sounds caring, yet somehow it doesn't feel comforting. As Sasha prepares to leave, something catches her eye. A bracelet on Ben's wrist. Her breathing stops. She knows that bracelet. Tommy wore it every single day. Ben notices her staring. He slowly looks down at the bracelet, then back at Sasha. He smiles. A different smile this time. Cold, emotionless, terrifying. Without saying another word, he disappears inside his shelter. For just a moment, everything is silent. Then, he walks back out, holding a crossbow. He casually throws Sasha's missing backpack onto the ground. Every missing item, perfectly packed inside. Then, he presses play on a small speaker. Music begins echoing through the forest. "I've restocked your supplies. I removed your phone. And now, you have until this song ends to run." For a second, Sasha can't even process what she just heard. Then survival instincts take over. She grabs her backpack, turns around, and runs as fast as she can. Behind her, Ben doesn't chase. Not yet. He simply stands there, smiling, waiting for the music to end. She leaps into her kayak, desperately paddling into the dangerous, churning rapids. Behind her, the cheerful music fades, replaced by the terrifying, echoing thwack of crossbow bolts slicing through the air and embedding themselves into the water right next to her. The rapids are wild. The kayak flips, throwing Sasha into the freezing, violent currents. She is dragged across sharp rocks, gasping for air, losing her kayak entirely. Bruised, shivering, and soaking wet, she drags herself onto the riverbank. Just as she tries to catch her breath, she hears something that makes her heart leap with hope. The voices of a family. She crawls toward the sound, screaming for help, but as she breaks through the brush, her hope is instantly crushed into dust. There is no family. There is only a portable video camera mounted on a tripod, playing a pre-recorded video of a family laughing and camping. It was a trap, a decoy Ben placed to lure his prey. Swoosh! A crossbow bolt grazes her shoulder, lodging itself into the tree behind her. Sasha turns to see Ben walking slowly through the trees, completely calm, enjoying every single second of her terror. She runs again. Through the dense brush, over steep ravines, her survival instincts, the same athletic grit she used on the vertical walls of Norway, kick into absolute overdrive. She spots Ben's canoe tied near the riverbank. If she can steal it, she can escape. She makes a desperate dash for it. Snap! An agonizing, sickening crunch echoes through the quiet forest. Sasha screams in pure agony. A massive, rusted steel bear trap has clamped shut directly onto her leg, biting deep into her flesh. She falls to the forest floor, weeping and gasping in pain, trying desperately to pry the heavy steel jaws open with her bare hands. But she is too weak. The heavy thud of footsteps approaches. Ben stands over her, looking down with a sickening mixture of pity and pride. He bends down, whispers a quiet apology, and knocks her unconscious. When Sasha slowly opens her eyes, she is in total, pitch-black darkness. The air is thick, damp, and smells of rotting copper. She tries to move her hands, but the heavy clinking of chains echoes off stone walls. She is suspended by her wrists, shackled inside a deep, hidden underground cave. Ben steps into the dim light of a lantern. He has researched her. He knows about the registration form she filled out. He even knows about Tommy. He begins questioning her, his voice dripping with twisted curiosity, asking how it felt to let her partner fall to his death. Sasha weeps, the crushing guilt of Tommy's death being weaponized against her. But then, Ben turns on a light, and Sasha's voice is caught in her throat. Hanging all around her, suspended from the ceiling of the cave like meat in a slaughterhouse, are the decaying bodies of the missing campers, the family from the video, the missing hikers, and dozens of others. And then, the most stomach-churning realization of all hits her. Ben looks at her, holds up a piece of his homemade beef jerky, and smiles. He is a ritualistic cannibal. He doesn't just hunt his victims for sport. He turns them into the very jerky he sells at the gas station, the very jerky he just fed her. The absolute horror of what she has consumed hits Sasha. Vomit and tears spill out of her as Ben steps closer, gloating in his madness, completely convinced that he has broken her spirit. But he underestimated who he was dealing with. Sasha isn't just a victim. She is a survivor who has looked death in the eyes before. As Ben leans in close to whisper another taunt, Sasha lunges forward with animalistic rage and bites his entire ear clean off. Ben screams in agony, clutching his bloody head. Utilizing the distraction, Sasha uses all of her remaining core strength to swing her body, shattering her restraints against the stone wall. Still shackled and bleeding, she bolts out of the cave entrance and runs into the pouring rain. The chase is brutal. Sasha runs blindly through the storm, Ben hot on her heels, dripping blood from his severed ear. The chase leads them directly to the edge of a massive, roaring waterfall. With nowhere left to run, Sasha leaps. She plunges into the deep pool below, the heavy chains dragging her down. She fights her way back to the surface and crawls onto a rocky gorge. Ben leaps after her. They collide on the rocky shore in a desperate, muddy struggle. Ben attempts to strangle her, but Sasha, fueled by pure adrenaline, grabs a heavy, jagged rock and smashes it directly into his leg. A loud, sickening crack echoes, a compound fracture. Now, both of them are utterly broken. Sasha is shackled and exhausted. Ben's leg is snapped in half. Neither of them can survive the elements or escape this deep, isolated canyon alone. As night falls, they are forced into a tense, delirious truce. Sitting in the cold, Sasha finally lets go of her anger, quietly sobbing as she admits the crushing weight of her guilt over letting Tommy go. Ben listens, almost feeling a strange, twisted connection to her pain. But when morning comes, the reality of survival sets in. They have to climb out of this sheer, towering canyon. Ben unlocks Sasha's shackles but ties himself directly to her climbing harness. "If you try anything, I pull you down with me. We make it to the top together, or we die together." It is a twisted mirror of Norway. Once again, Sasha is climbing a vertical cliff with a man's life literally hanging on her rope. They begin the grueling vertical ascent. Ben climbs in agony, dragging his broken leg. Sasha leads the way, showing incredible, raw athleticism. As they get closer to the summit, she quietly fashions a Prusik knot, a sliding friction hitch, allowing Ben to pull his own weight up. But Sasha is plotting. She reaches the lip of the summit first. She pulls herself onto the flat ground. Down below, Ben looks up, smiling, believing he has won, believing they survived. Sasha looks down at him. Her eyes are no longer filled with fear or guilt or grief. They are filled with cold determination. She looks at the harness. 5 months ago, she let go of Tommy because she had no choice. But today, she has a choice. Without saying a single word, Sasha detaches Ben's line from her harness. Ben's eyes widen in absolute terror as the realization hits him. Sasha lets go. Ben screams as he plummets through the air, crashing violently onto the jagged rocks of the canyon floor below. Sasha lies on the dirt, gasping for air, staring up at the sky. It is finally over. Hours later, she is rescued by passing hikers. She leads the authorities back to the ranger station, exposing Ben's horrific chamber of horrors, where the remains of over 20 victims are finally recovered. In the final, quiet scene of the movie, Sasha walks down to a quiet, sunlit Australian beach. She looks out at the endless ocean. She pulls out Tommy's lucky compass, the symbol of her guilt, her grief, and the past she couldn't let go of. She takes a deep breath, feels the warm wind on her face, and tosses the compass far into the waves. She watches it sink, and for the first time in 5 months, Sasha finally breathes.